Hey guys, Ben Labadie, and this is Business Entrepreneur Weekly with Henry Svec. And we have an exciting day. Things are opening Friday. We have hope, we have optimism, we have all of that going on. I'm excited. Henry, are you excited?
I'm excited. Going to get the haircut, the feet done. It's going to be an amazing week next week. I can't wait.
Hair, feet, nails,
everything, everything we can
beer
get
on the
done.
patio.
Yeah, food. We got to. But I feel bad for the restaurants. I saw tonight some guy in Stratford has like a 400-seat restaurant or something, but he's only got like 8 tables on a patio. Like a poor guy.
Yeah.
Like he had 40 staff. Laid them. Like, how do you do I'm still concerned about restaurants because I don't want to lose them. How do we do that?
Yeah, it's an interesting time. I think you have all the patios. You're going to be able to go on patios and restaurants, but for the restaurants that don't have patios or even the parking lot, it's going to be very tough.
Yeah.
But it's really just this is a start. This is exciting.
Yeah.
I think the people watching, or if you guys are watching, I want to know what you guys are excited about. Are you first excited to get your hair cut, your nails done? Like you said, manis and petties. Are you wanting to have a beer or lunch on a patio somewhere? Do you want to go to a public pool? What do you guys want to do? It's exciting stuff. I want to hear from you. What's the most exciting? What are you most optimistic about, Henry?
The hope you talked about a little bit before we started. That now we have hope, and today the premier gave us a deadline. 12:01 a.m. on Friday. This is what you can do. We've needed this for the entire time because people can plan and businesses can plan and start doing what they want to do. You mentioned your business, the new app that you can do now because it's legal, and all the other legal things that are going on. And I'm excited. I've never been more excited about business for a very long time.
Absolutely. And you know what? I'm gonna talk about my app for a minute, if you don't mind, Henry.
Oh yeah, do it.
So before the virus started, I created this app called Who's Up. All right. And the whole idea about the Who's Up app is having people meet each other, having people connect and being able to say, this is where want to go. This is what I want to do. Who wants to join me? And people would say they're in. So basically you're asking who's up for doing something with me. And as soon as I got it ready, as soon as everything was just getting exciting, the pandemic hit and I couldn't do anything with it because nobody was allowed to participate. So for me, I'm excited to get that marketing out and push it, especially locally and everywhere else. So I'm excited about that. I know a lot of other businesses were in starting a business or get ready. And again, the pandemic hit and they got sidelined and sidetracked. So this has to be an exciting time for them. They're finally there is hope. So that's very exciting. And another thing I want to talk about, hey guys, while you're watching, hit that share button, is this is brought to you by pireporters.com. And I bet on there, are you guys going to have some exciting news on there, some exciting articles, Henry?
Well, the one this week which excited me is our journalist researched this economic committee thing they're doing in the municipality, and there's something about the elected officials giving back their increase in salary that they voted for themselves. And this was a very great week. I thought, if this happens, what a great week. We're finally seeing people come around. I was a little upset today, though, and I posted on Facebook, driving with Mary back from something. I saw the $300,000 tractor cutting the ditch where there's wildflowers and clover for my bees that they cut every year. And I'm thinking, can't you just take that employee and let them plant flowers instead of cutting, a $300,000 tractor? You have to cut grass on a ditch in Cedar Springs just because, like, it's the dumbest thing. So on one hand, you're ecstatic about possibly there's a chance, right? And then you see more dumb behavior by our elected officials. So this is a business day, right? So when you're in business, everything you see, you put in that same context. What business would ever buy a $300,000 tractor to cut grass in a ditch that nobody cares about? Come on, let the wildflower. In fact, I love the different wildflowers. There's an app. I'll tell you, there's an app I'm using called Picture This, where you take a picture of anything and it tells you the species of the wildflower or the plant, the history. And I've been a bit of a freak with this. So I went through the bush. I've been working on the wildflower farm on the weekend. And there's like 30 or 40 different wildflowers growing in the bush. You wouldn't believe the type of, and you take pictures. If you go to a ditch outside your house with this app, you'll take pictures of all kinds of things before they cut it, quick before they cut it down, because it's important.
That would have been good for me. I was in Rondo today, and I'm thinking,
Oh,
what are all these trees? So basically, all you got to do is take a picture, and it tells you kind
it
of what it
works
is.
with your camera. You take a picture, and then it just goes in its database, and you see it's free for a while, or it's free unless you. It's like $20 a year or something. But you take a picture of shrubs and trees, it tells you everything, and I've learned so much about it's amazing. It'd be great for kids too, but I guess I'm a little old, but I found it incredible. Use it every day out in the bush.
That's
Sorry, you
awesome.
got
That's
me
awesome.
started here, Ben. You got me started.
Well, that's good. We get you fired up, get you going. Let's talk about some confusing stuff that kind of came out.
Yeah.
So funerals and weddings. So they've bumped the gatherings from 5 to 10. So 10 people now instead of 5. Funerals and weddings are at 10. However, churches can run at 30% of capacity. So if it had a 300-seat church, you got to go to 100. Now, what do you do in the situation where you have a wedding in a church, but the weddings can only have 10, funerals can only have 10, it takes place in a church? Can you then use that as a manipulate it and throw 100 people in there?
I would imagine. I mean, what's to stop that, right? If you can have 20% capacity. But I don't know. It is still very murky. Like, we're excited. We could talk about the murkiness because there's a lot of murkiness. I heard some calls today when the premier, I watched it on a rerun, the premier's talk there. And someone was asking him, Mr. Premier, why is it that, there's 10,000 people in Toronto? This was a restaurant owner, I think. He said, there's 10,000 people in Toronto, very close, protesting, and we're all for the protesting. But in my restaurant, he said, I can't have anybody inside. I can't have 50 people in there. How do you justify? And he couldn't answer the question, right? He kept saying, well, yeah, we're doing the best we can. So that's very confusing to me. And you can go to a beach now, right, Ben? You can go to Erie.
I believe you can go to the beaches. You can go to parks.
On Friday. Not today, Friday.
On Friday at 12:01, you can go to fields and train. So that's exciting because I want to get, I do a little training for kids, for youth, my son's age, and we go to a park and we don't use any equipment, but we're using the land. And I don't know if that was illegal or legal. So I didn't think I was doing any harm. I was helping kids get active. They need to be active. So I don't think there was any harm in that. But now it, gives me the okay. I also want to make sure that my son, who's had all his sports canceled, I mean, I really got my refund today for the soccer league that he was supposed to be playing in. And now I think this gives me the okay to put on that. That practices and get those kids together so they can get out and active. And I think the kids need that. I think youth need that. And so I'm excited about being able to go to those parks.
On bathrooms? We'll get that out of the way because I know some people don't like us talking. But I heard that golf courses were open, but no amenities, which I assume meant bathrooms weren't open. Or what is the deal on bathrooms? I don't think they're a big problem. Aren't they still? Are they open or closed?
I was out in Rondo today, and there was no bathrooms open, no porta potties. But there is porta potties in the area, where there is.
Is that a good thing from a health perspective, having people go to the bathroom outside? Is that better than having bathrooms?
I don't know. I think it's the same. I think washrooms are safe. We got one here. Ben Labadie, what do you actually do for a living?
Wow.
I made an offer on I made an offer on a house in 2013. You never even got back to me. Then you were a fitness trainer. Now you are a talk show host and journalist. Just curious what actual credentials are. Well, Sean, thank you for that question. And it looks like you might be slightly attacking me. If you made an offer on a house, you would have had it written up. I would have had to get back to you there. Then I was a fitness trainer and I was excited about that. I had my own gym in 2009 to 2013. And those were probably one of the most exciting times of my life. And it actually got me into fitness and got me where, you connect those dots afterwards. And then I got into real estate after that.
When you're done, I'll tell you my list of jobs.
Now you're a talk show host and journalist. So talk show host, I wouldn't say we're a talk show host. I think we're just bringing information. Yeah. We don't get paid for it. Journalist, I wouldn't call myself a journalist.
There's no
Yeah.
economics going on here.
So if you do want my credentials, I am a real estate agent. I am a certified home inspector. I'm a fitness trainer, although that's more experience. I wouldn't call myself a certified trainer anymore, but a trainer with experience. And I just like doing this, Sean. So thank you for watching. We need more people like you who tune in and watch this message because it gets our numbers up. So I appreciate it, and keep on watching, my friend. And if you got any more questions, let me know.
Yeah, with the offer thing. I
Sean
mean,
Moser.
I'm in real estate. I make a lot of offers. We sometimes make, we've made 10 offers on different things before you buy one. If I make an offer in real estate, someone doesn't get back to me, I get on the horn right away and say, buddy, did you get my offer? I'm not going to wait 7 years to get on a talk show and say, hey, buddy, I made an offer. You never got back to me. I didn't want to buy that place. I'd say, come on. Right. Sometimes it's internet. 2013, yeah, we had internet back then. It could have been internet. It could have been you're busy. I'm not defending you. I'm just saying in real estate, my gosh, you have to. I was talking to someone today about something that we've been talking a long time. I just keep recalling and re-talking in real estate, and
yeah.
You don't want my list of jobs, do you, Ben? Do you want my list of jobs?
No, I'm good. I trust you. But one thing I want to bring up is the social media, the world that we're in right now. Sean has expressed an opinion on a show where I have to talk about it, and other people are going to see it scrolling. They're going to say, hey, well, really, what is Ben's deal? But a lot of businesses are going to be opening up soon, and they're going to get a lot of heckling online. And I wonder how we're going to navigate through this and help them out, because some of them are not sure how to open, right? There's not a lot of guidance there. And some people who are a little bit scared, a little bit fearful, are going to go in and say, I don't feel comfortable. And then they're going to share that online, and other people are going to be questioning that business. So it's going to be an interesting time where I think we have to stand behind the local small businesses, the restaurants, the salons, and all of them as they learn, as we all learn, to get back to business. What are your thoughts on that?
I think we're more tolerant of less perfection right now. I mean, how do you expect a person, like, if you go to any kind of place, whether it's you just roll with it, because there's no set. There's no set procedure. You go in, and if you're not comfortable, walk out. And if you're comfortable, go in and enjoy the business. I've been going to different businesses. That's my philosophy. Like I told before on this show, sometimes you go here and it's very strict, and you go here and it's more relaxed. It doesn't matter. It's how you feel. And I don't criticize the business owner. It's just how they feel about the problem. And I mean, I always go to the extremes and then pull it back, right? If 10,000 people in Toronto can be very close, and for a good cause, but they're very close, and no one's really concerned about it. I'm not really concerned to go into a restaurant where there's 50 people or 100 people.
Right.
I'm not. I would be happy to go. Like most people, maybe they don't. And I'm a senior. I'm 60, going to be 64. But I would go in because I just want to go. And Mary would probably go. She'd be happy to go too, because we'd love to go to some of our favorite restaurants. So that's a decision. Yeah. I think we're going to roll with it. I don't think people are going to be too. I could be totally wrong.
I think there's gonna be some, but I think over a period of time we've become a little bit more patient and understanding, and that just lasts a while. Now, I did see a situation. It was I think in the Chatham Voice, where you had somebody almost in a fist fight at a grocery store. I think it was Sobeys, over the line. So somebody got a little upset with somebody else not following the arrows, and it got a little heated. Let's see here. Will they open Kingston Park? I believe they are opening splash pads, local pools, public pools. So that's exciting. And it's also good on the business standpoint for ice cream shops and those food trucks to be by those parks again. And I think that's a great opportunity.
Yeah, there's so much that people now hopefully are optimistic about. And I think this is sort of a sign of, you have to just move forward. I was thinking about the risks we take when we get in our cars, or the risks we take when we do different activities, or when we leave the house, or there's risks in everything we do. And as humans, once we can calculate that risk, we either decide to take that risk or not take that risk. And I think that's the decision businesses are going to have. At what level can I minimize the risk for people, but still make them have it to be an enjoyable experience at a reasonable price? And that's my concern about restaurants. I keep bringing up restaurants. I like to eat, but I think about the business owners and how they're negotiating. Like tonight, if you're owning a restaurant, I wish someone could maybe chime in and let us know how they're feeling. But if you own a restaurant tonight, how are you feeling about this new idea of patios? Is it even feasible? Will it be something
Yeah.
you can do in the long term?
You know what? I just saw Mark Childs here. He kind of commented, and he has the Black Goose in Wallsburg, and they have a beautiful patio. So anytime I'm in Wallsburg, they have a deck that goes overlooks the river,
Oh wow!
and I love the Wallsburg River. I just love it. And I think I think he said they might have 10 to 12. I'm not sure. I kind of just remembering what he might have wrote, 10 to 12, and then it's got to be patio. If it's raining, what do you do then? I mean, there's a lot of situations where it gives a tough message. Like, how do you navigate all that? And I think that's where we got to be patient. But hopefully, Mark might be able to give us an idea of how he feels as
Do you
a
know why we
restaurant
didn't
owner.
let people open restaurants with space inside the restaurants like most places have done? Like, why can't you go in and have space?
I think right now, I think they're just starting. Right?
Yeah.
They're just trying to figure something out to get something open. That's my thoughts. And give it a week or so, see what happens, and then gradually get into this thing. You know, I wish
I
they just
wonder
open
about
up
a
everything
post.
and go for it. But
Yeah, but I wonder about. There's a phase now, and there's a phase in December. We're going to have a vaccine because there's so much. When Bill Gates spends billions of dollars on vaccines and stuff, there's a vaccine that's coming. Probably say December at the latest. We have a vaccine, and if you have a vaccine, so right now in business, you kind of have to have a pre-vaccine strategy and a post-vaccine strategy because if you do too much when the vaccine comes and everyone wants to just go back to normal, you have to be ready for that too because I think that's really coming. I don't think a restaurant's going to survive forever with 20, 30, 40% capacity. We either have to let
right,
everybody enjoy or it's not going to be a viable business. So the question
yeah,
is then, what is your strategy until you get what, regardless of it is, until you get to that vaccine or herd immunity? Because I think that's one of the interesting tests from this weekend of 10,000 people altogether. If rates go up, but not a lot of hospitalizations go up, people are going to start to be saying things like, we can be together and it's not going to harm us.
absolutely. Let's go back to the comments section here. We have one. Crystal, I do not think this regional opening is a good idea. Glad businesses are opening, but I will stay home for now if there are no travel restrictions. And I think there's going to be a good, part of the population that feels just like Crystal does. Is it too soon?
Wonder
The
why. Can I
numbers
ask
are
you why,
still
Matt?
there.
Why do you think it's not a good idea? Like, what is it about that?
Yeah. She'd have to comment in there.
Because,
Crystal,
because
if you could just let us know.
remember a couple of weeks ago when people were in the park in Toronto when we were really still isolated? And doesn't it
Yep.
make sense that if we're still isolated and people are breaking all the rules, that we don't get the same penalty that they do? I think that was the message from the premier today, which I really liked.
Yeah.
He was kind of saying, "Look,
Yeah.
you Toronto people, if you don't, for whatever reason, I
Yeah.
kind of like that." He also said people
Yeah.
should travel and go up north and go.
Yeah.
If you live in Toronto, travel. Don't stay home.
Yeah. I think what many people might be going through, Henry, is that they are still concerned. They've been hit every single day with the fear of COVID, coronavirus, um, cases, how it spreads. So I understand that there's still a fear among a good portion of the population, and I do see many of them, especially our older population, the vulnerable population, just staying put a little bit and being a little bit more hesitant on going out.
Do you think the prime minister going to that Ottawa thing was partially to start telling us to be more relaxed? Like, do you think there was something, or am I thinking too deeply into it? When he went and he supported the protesters, good on him, and he did all that, but he was really close, and a lot of people weren't wearing masks. And do you think that
You
was to
know,
kind of convince us that it's not as bad as they've been telling us, or what?
I think what the prime minister did there is what a prime minister needed to do. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter about the virus at that point. What he needed to do for the country and for probably North America is be a leader. And sometimes you got to put yourself a little bit in harm's way, even if there was a harm. But I believe he's got a lot of information and the risk was probably still really, really low. So if he feels like I feel, the risk is very, very low. So it's a little bit easier. Again, he's the Prime Minister of Canada. He probably has access to all the doctors that he needs to have access to if something were to go wrong. But there is that little message of hope that if the Prime Minister is doing that, I feel a little bit more comfortable myself because he's got the most information, or should have, and he's going out and doing that.
But then the mayor of London, Ontario, didn't go to the protest because of COVID. So you have, like it's just such mixed messages, right?
Yeah, and again, that's where we get to. Some people still have that fear. Like I don't know the health of the London mayor, how old the London mayor is.
He's up there,
but
I think,
yeah. So maybe there's, Trudeau's a young, healthy guy. So people coming from hotspots bringing it here when our numbers were so low, just not staying home if you're sick. So if we're all open here again, and Crystal does have a pretty good point here, and I think Jeff says, still similar here, is that if they want to go to a patio and have a drink, they can go 45 minutes away to Chatham, right? Or Tilbury. So if you are wanting to get a haircut, you can drive to Chatham or Tilbury. If you want to go to the salon, if you want to go do all these things, now you have access only 40 minutes away, and we are near a hotspot. So if that's the reasoning, Crystal does have a really good point there. If Windsor is the hotspot. So Jeff and Crystal do have a good point, probably because Windsor is still locked down, but Tilbury is 20 minutes away. So Windsor is locked down. They're not allowed to open, and we are close. So they do have good points there. I understand that.
But maybe they're doing this because, I don't know, I keep thinking that if they were so concerned, they wouldn't do this regional opening and businesses be allowed. But I heard today that certain resorts used to tell you if you have a cottage up there, bring your own food. And now the mayors of those communities are saying, don't bring your own food. Come to our restaurants and buy stuff around here because we need your business.
Spend some money there. Yeah.
All of a sudden, that's shifted. I don't know.
Yeah, we went from fear of everything to, hey, spend your money here. So let's see here, Tammy Blonde. How do you feel about the arrows? Does it give you a migraine or stress you out? I got to be honest, I'm probably the worst person in a grocery store or store with arrows. I get in and I try to follow them. And then when all of a sudden, if I need something, because the stores are pretty empty. And I really just sneak across an aisle, right? So I'm probably not the best person.
You might be surprised that I'm like a dog. If you tell me where to go, and I'll just keep going that way. And the only time I get upset is when they move stuff. So I figure out, because I do all the shopping and cooking in the house. So when I know where the spice, they never move the spices. Their racks must be too hard to move. But when they move certain things, and you're going to get X, and all of a sudden, where they had X is something else, that drives me crazy. But I actually like the arrows now because I just do the route and I plan my strategy. If you want to get meat, you got to cut across to get across, so you don't cross over. Like it'd be like going down a one-way street. So I respect it and follow it. I'm more compliant than I would have imagined, but I like it actually.
I noticed somebody in the Toronto area was putting arrows in going the wrong way in some stores.
That would mess
cause everybody go in a circle. We need to lead with kindness from Sandy, and that's a good one. How do pastors open to 30% only? So Phyllis is talking about churches opening at 30% capacity. And are we going to see some inflated numbers? Like, we could have had 1,000 when it was only a 500-person church. How do you even judge that? How do you monitor or enforce that? How do you go about that? That's going to be a tough one.
The only thing I was thinking about, they picked the 30 because that's about how many people in certain faiths actually go. So if they had 100% capacity of people who go, it would be 30% in many churches. That's why they keep closing a lot of our churches. Some churches are booming. They've got it right. But the majority of traditional ones are way down before COVID. So I'm not sure 30% is going to restrict a lot of churches. I could be totally wrong, of course.
I think Mark has a pretty good point here. Chatham-Kent should be allowed to fully open with no restrictions, and patrons must be from Chatham-Kent only. I think that would make Crystal feel better, right? That would make some people feel better.
How would you police that?
That would be a little bit, it'd be no different than getting ID'd. right? A bouncer at the door. Everywhere you go, there's
We're
somebody
young
with
again,
ID.
Ben. They don't think we're 18.
Yeah.
Is it 18? What is it? 21 now? I forget. I don't even.
19, I think.
19.
But
Okay.
that's a good possibility. I do believe I'm with Mark on this. Chatham-Kent should be allowed to fully open with no restrictions. And I could go with him on the patrons must be from Chatham-Kent only. The only problem that I see there is that I believe the people that are sick, and there was new information about asymptomatic people today that don't easily spread the virus. Okay, so that's coming from World Health Organization. So if asymptomatic people, the people that don't have any symptoms, who we thought were super spreaders, aren't actually super spreaders, they're coming, and the sick people are staying home because that's the society we're moving to. Because sick people don't want to be seen in public sick.
Yeah.
So, and I think by Chatham-Kent opening to Windsor, you're going to get Windsor's healthy, right? Visiting and shopping, spending money here when they could be spending money there. And we've seen for years and years and years, people from Chatham-Kent spending money in Windsor, in Detroit, in Port Huron, and might be a good opportunity for us to get them back. But I do see how this could be a good solution to
You and Mark make a good point. Let me
fears.
ask you this, though. When you hear the stats every day, you hear we tested so many and so many tested positive. And then it's like you're waiting for the rest and they stop. We want to know how many were hospitalized. How serious were these cases? And what are the demographics? So we can start to make sense of this. And we're still not getting that information. We're still getting the statistics aren't clear. Just tell us. Like by now, we should know how many people in a random sample have been exposed and didn't have symptoms, and those that did have symptoms. It wouldn't. We're talking from March till now. Even 1,000. Give us 1,000 people in our communities or in Southern Ontario. We haven't done that. I don't understand that. Why we haven't been clear on that? Because I think that would help Mark and you and some. I believe unless you have a pre-existing condition or you're over a certain age, it should be totally open, and it should be self-monitoring. You should do this yourself, and there should be more testing. We don't have enough testing.
A doorman and have more services, and the community try to self work it out. So another thing for church, they might have to spread it out. Now, I ran a 5-kilometer run the other day. Okay, and the way I ran it was that it wasn't a race of 15 people. There was 15 participants, but each participant had their own race starting a minute apart. So it was a one-person race 15 times. And kind of like Jeff is saying there, you could have church, you could have the 100 people, the 30%, and you can have the 30% 5 times. It's a little bit more work, a little bit more time, but that's what it might come down to for the limited time here. LOL, my buddy and I play golf back to back in Windsor and Chatham. We are playing in Chatham first, 100% for sure, for the patio post match beers.
Oh, yeah, the patios will be open.
Yeah, patios will be open. So, and Mark kind of made another comment there. ID at the door, simple solution.
Yeah.
So Carrie Lynn's always watching us here. How you doing, Carrie? I feel so bad for our seniors in long-term care. I used to work for St. Andrews residents in Chatham. They have a beautiful outdoor courtyard. Would be nice to see if somehow, with the weather being nice, that families could have a visit with their loved ones outdoors. They're so lonely, and most of them are suffering from Alzheimer's or dementia. My heart truly goes out to them and their families. And I have to 100% agree. It's almost turned into a prison, long-term care, to some, because they can't be visited and they can't visit and they can't get out. What are your thoughts there? I know you're always talking about long-term care.
I did a blog
You
today.
are.
I might have got me in trouble, but I talked about there's only one thing that matters that no one seems to ask the question in senior care. And you know what that is, Ben? No one will ask this question.
I don't
for
know.
You to go to a senior, regardless of where they are, to go to them and say, for you to have a high quality of life, what do you need? Okay, that's it. If you gave that power to seniors, I would bet you very few are going to say, so the staff client ratio isn't 1 to 30, it's 1 to 25. Or they wouldn't say so that I could have 2 showers a week instead of 1. Or that I could have 2 diaper changes instead of 1 every 5 hours. Like that wouldn't be in your, no one talks about quality of life because that's all that matters. And until we take seniors and the concept of being a senior and aging as being respectful, and we respect that population, we won't ask that question. Because if you ask the quality of life question, everything that governments and private industry has done for nursing homes has failed. It's failed. I don't know about you, but in my blog, I said, if you woke up today and you were 85, which is what I did. And when I wrote my blog, I said, okay, I woke up at 85. What was life like today? Well, I heard a group of people talking about what my needs were. Could I go to the bathroom on my own? Could I walk, or did I need help? Was I ornery when I didn't get my way? Did I need a behavioral unit? And even though I've been married at 85, if I'm lucky to still be with my wife, I would have been married 60. No one asked me if I want to spend the rest of my life with her in this facility. They said, congratulations, because the place you're going has a swimming pool and you like to exercise every day, so you can swim 3 times a week. Well, I said, well, I hate to swim. And that's not 7 days a week, because no one's going to ask me what my quality of life will be different from yours or your parents or whoever's going to be 85. For me, I have to have access to my honeybees. I have to go fly fishing once in a while. Then I have to eat good food to start. And I got to live with my wife, and I had to do so I had to stop because it was too painful to talk about being 85. I said, I'm only 21 years away. I don't want to do this exercise anymore. But quality of life to me is everything. And I think until we ask that question, we can't fix senior care. No, Carrie Lynn's right what she's talking about, but I'm you ask me. You open these doors and then you sit there and you look at me like I'm a fool.
I let you talk. People like to hear you talk. That's why they do. They don't. They're not here for me, and especially Sean's not here for me.
For you, Ben. You're amazing.
Exactly. I've not gone shopping since March 13th. I'm too scared to get sick. I have MS and can't afford to get sick. So yeah, like back to what
Totally
Crystal's
hear you,
saying, there's underlying issues with
Yep.
a certain portion of the population that you got to understand.
I don't know
And I
the
understand
science. I don't know the science on MS though. I'm sure Crystal does. As far as what's the science tell us about risks with MS and COVID or any other type of virus, and hopefully someone's shopping and taking care of Crystal's stuff.
Yep. Wasn't it Dr. Colby that said, get out and get fresh air, staying inside is trapping the virus indoors?
I heard that one from many health folks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, there was a time that everybody said, stay in, stay in. Then they moved to get out, get out, get out.
Yeah.
Masks, no masks, no masks. There's so much conflicting information all the time. Ask the senior what it is the senior wants. They are a generation that deserves respect and acknowledgement. The voice of a senior is often removed.
You know, Allison, I'll give you one other thought. Someone asked me today after they read my blog, I got an email and they were sending it off to the government. I said, okay, here's what I would recommend. So just like you have a power of attorney at a lawyer, I would like a quality of care document. So while I still have my sanity, I can type out what I want my typical day to be like. What kind of foods do I like? What kind of this or that? And it's like a legal document. So whatever you want to do to me, you got to make sure this happens if I happen to not, still be alive and you can't take me out. But, other people are deciding for me. Because for some reason, how did we lose the idea? Like, think about it, Ben. If today someone told you, Ben, your quality of life is based on how many times someone comes in and changes your diaper, would that be a high quality life for you? No, I wouldn't base it on that. I mean, if I had to have that, I would want to be clean whenever I needed to be clean, but it would be based on other things as a quality of life. It wouldn't be just basic living, because we don't do that with people in prison. We don't, and the real problem is, you look at some of our other laws to protect vulnerable people, they're not as strong as some of our laws to protect other people. So when the government asks, what can we do to help seniors? Well, you've got to ask the one question, in my opinion, what does quality life mean for you versus what does it mean for you, and what does it mean for you? It's different for everybody. You can't institutionalize that. You can't make a lot of money on that, because everybody needs a different approach.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. My husband is shopping for me. I would have to stop my MS treatment, as it is an immune system suppressant.
Thank you, Crystal. I'm glad that your husband's taking care of that, but I didn't know. So yeah, that's tough.
Oh, Sean's back.
Oh,
Dr. Svec,
Sean.
I assume you're running for mayor in the next election.
No.
Is that correct? Haven't you seen your Svec Institute commercials in a while? You're a psychologist, correct? what makes you qualified or an expert to speak on COVID-19, which you're not doing. I understand you and Ben don't like actual questions.
I can answer all
Sean,
those.
if
I'm
go
fine.
for it.
Well, first of all,
You
no, I
told
will
me.
never run for public office ever again. So that gets rid of that one. Haven't seen your Svec Institute commercials in a while. Well, that's probably been 10 years. Today, I'm not working as a psychologist. I own businesses and I'm a real estate investor. So that's why we do Business Entrepreneur Weekly. So I'm not providing any psychological advice tonight. I'm not qualified as an expert to speak on COVID-19 because, frankly, I don't think too many people in our world are, but I'm not for sure. And I don't understand the last one because I love questions and I love criticism. So I don't get that last
Yeah,
one.
like what Sean doesn't know is we need people like Sean to keep
Yeah,
on keep the conversation going. So
absolutely.
thank you, Sean. Again, you are on top of things. If churches will be allowed to open to 30%, then why not movie theaters and other similar venues? Churches can still operate online. Other businesses cannot. That's an interesting one from Derek Rudy. I think he's in Tilbury. Now, the drive-in theaters, I do believe, just started to open.
I heard that today. That was
But
one of the things they allowed to open.
and I think it's because the theaters have concession stands and washrooms, and maybe that's it. But he does make a good point. If a church can have a crowd in there at 30%, then why can't a theater operate at 30%?
Yeah, I wondered
I think
about
these.
the. Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was
I
just going
think
to
these
say.
washrooms. I'll
Go
go
ahead.
first.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I think these washrooms and concession stands are really being indoors are kind of scaring people, and they're not sure yet. And that's the only thing I can think of is, hey, let's hold off just a little bit. And they really hit us with phase two coming quicker than I thought it would.
Oh, really?
So what I've been hearing, they said, 19th or whatever, we're going to keep on extending, and then came out all of a sudden and said, bam, Friday. It's Friday.
Yeah.
So that was good. So maybe it could be Monday. Maybe it could be 2 weeks or 1 week till we see fully operational things.
It might be
Because
for Father's Day.
yeah, because when you look at the churches, all of a sudden the theaters can now make the argument, right? Derek made the argument. I agree with Derek. So why not? Right.
Yeah, it might
So
be the air circulation thing, but that doesn't make sense because planes can fly. So if people are still getting on planes,
yeah,
then it doesn't make sense. So I really don't. I don't know why that would be.
yeah. Let's see here. So I read, but was not clear. They are perhaps helping restaurants expand patio space by using public space for more tables. Anyone else read that and got any intel? Jeff, I have read that, and I do believe council has talked about that. And many councils all over have talked about that, of being able to use more public space like sidewalks and parking, parking lots to expand that so they can make people feel more comfortable and have more space and make enough money
Mm-hmm.
To stay open.
I
So
just
I have
wonder,
read that.
how would you do that in Blenheim, Ben? Because you have the sidewalk and then you have the parallel parking. My building's on the main street where the co-working space, is, and I don't know where you would find enough. I mean, I'd be happy to give up my space, but I think I'm beside a nail place and a real. I don't know where you would find the sidewalk space in Blenheim, for example, to open up a front patio.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a challenge. Are they going to be able, like a couple places I was in Kentucky? You have the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
This is in Covington, Kentucky, across from Cincinnati. I thought it was one of the cooler restaurants. But you have the restaurant, then you have a street, and then you have this midway
Mm-hmm.
between streets, and that's where the patio is. And they just bring it out to you there. So it's a little bit further. Yeah, I mean, the waiter has to cross a street.
Right. Right.
The wait staff has to cross the street to get to you. Maybe we're going to see people get creative like that, and that's in spaces where there isn't that much space. So maybe we're going to see they're going to have to get creative if they want to do something like that, I believe. Hopefully it's
Yeah.
not for long.
Yeah.
But again, with a lot of people being concerned, maybe it does have to be a solution long term where people feel comfortable with more space around them.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, I was only in Italy once. I haven't been away very much, but once in Italy, we were at a place where they actually had to cross a freeway to get to you. So they had a very tiny piece of, well, I called it a freeway. It was a very fast highway. They had a very tiny strip of land right up against the edge of a mountain. They had a fence so you wouldn't fall over, and they had a bunch of tables. and the restaurant was across the street, and they would wait for the traffic and run across with your food and then run back. It was kind of interesting, but they used every bit of space because they didn't have much. Maybe that's like you said, what we're going to have to do. We're going to have tables
Yeah.
all over a town, and the guy comes and brings you food. Or the
Yeah. You guys are great and help me out a lot, answer lots of questions for me. Well, Crystal, thank you for watching. And we appreciate you watching and participating. It's always nice to see people commenting and asking questions and go about that and opening up conversations that we wouldn't normally have.
Right.
Jeff thinks it's going to be at least 3 weeks
For the final phase, is that what he means?
To get everything else open. That's possible. I can see 3 weeks being a good number, or 2 weeks, hopefully 3 days. I don't know. Dr. Colby gets the final day when it happens from what I read, so it may not happen as soon as we think.
He must mean say. So final say. Oh, really? Okay. So I think it's an advisory role, though, isn't it? It's like, I don't know if it's the power. Isn't it the actual? Yeah, that's a great.
I think the province has the power. I think the province does have the power because we recently had some protests, and I believe it had the blessing of the chief medical officer, the police, and the mayor.
Right.
And a lot of people made the argument, but that's still breaking the law because it's a provincial, hand-me-down type thing. So I think I think what people do is they listen to the people, that say okay, always. And then, Ford says okay. I think I'm going to go with it.
There's something about opening up the border a little bit too. I know today they talked about families can be reunited, but I'm wondering if they're starting to open up that door, and pretty soon we're going to be able to have others come.
Well, I believe they, as we approach the 21st, and I think that's the day that they were going to, that's the border day, right? That they either have to extend it or cut it off there. And they were talking earlier, how do we reunite families? Because there's a lot of families that live across the border that can't get together. So they were talking about that. I don't know where they got on that, but I think if all goes well, you might see that border open shortly.
Yeah, I wonder how people feel about that. I mean, I would be excited about that, but I'm not sure if everybody else would be.
I'm excited about that because
you travel a lot down there.
I travel a lot and I'm more risk tolerant. But I understand the fear, especially Michigan was hit hard. So I can totally understand anybody who would be fearful of that or would be against it, really. Seems like every phase so far has been spread out at least 3 weeks. Could the restaurant set up in the park? See, these are things that we're going to see. Like, are we going to be able to get creative?
Yeah, there's a couple of parks in Blenheim, right?
You got the Rotary Park there, right?
Yeah.
And that's a big park.
Huge. Beautiful too. It's nice.
I think it would be neat. I think again, this is where I find it exciting, where people get creative, and this might be the start. You wonder how things got the way they were one way, but if you have a bunch of tables set up at Rotary Park all the time, and the business there have kind of contributed, if they can deliver that somehow, I think that would be an amazing thing to drive by because that's a beautiful park. And it's right there.
Had Friday night fish fries, and then the next Friday night it was roast, and then the next Friday, just to be able to get out at a place to eat would be awesome.
Yep.
And make money
I think
for charity,
Yeah, and businesses right now need to make money for themselves to give to charity.
Right.
If you got no money to give,
yeah.
But I think that's exciting times where I think the municipality has to work with restaurants and local businesses more than they ever have. Be more lenient, bend some rules so they can do more stuff, especially get started. And restaurant setups in the park. Oh man, I'd like to see this.
That's a great idea, Ben. Happen there. That would be a great idea. Was that Tracy who came up with that idea?
Tracy LeBute.
That's a great idea, Tracy.
Let's see here. They have been closing down soon streets and only will work for some locations. Yeah, I could see. If they close the downtown Main Street in Blenheim, is there a drive around that's easy or no?
There's parking. There's some municipal parking off the Main Street, and there's some parking by the Legion if it's not open yet. There's a bit back parking, but a lot of seniors. I mean, it's your angle parking on the Main Street anyway, and some people probably shouldn't park on the Main Street. So we only have a few restaurants left, though. We don't have. Well, we have some great clothing shops, and maybe that would make more open up. I'm not sure how that would work in Blenheim.
Do you think we could see the return of sidewalk sales and sidewalk restaurants?
Yeah.
Like shut down a section for 5 to 8 o'clock at night. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know what the rules are, but could Blenheim do that? Like if the BIA got together, or would that be a municipal decision? I would imagine before you could do that.
I think it's a combo, and then you need some police approval and stuff like that. But I think that's a possible. I mean, these are where people are going to get really creative, and that's the exciting part of entrepreneurs and business because they will figure it out, and I think that's exciting.
Well, it could even be
Uh,
as simple as an app. Like you could be sitting in the park in Blenheim and just app the restaurant and they bring the food out to your table where you're sitting. So it's you know what I mean? It would be like you're using
yeah,
that facility and you're getting I don't know, there's gotta be some ways.
and I think you're going to see just more spots, dead space used.
Hmm.
Outdoor dead space is used. Like I said, Monday and Tuesday nights are my new Netflix. You guys are great.
Well, thanks.
Choosing some streets. Let's see here. They must self-isolate for 14 days. So yeah, that's another thing. When somebody travels to the US and comes back, do they
Mhm.
have to isolate for 14 days even on leisure? So that would really
Oh,
make a decision hard. So if you take a 1 week vacation or a 3 day vacation, I mean, you might be off work for 14 days after that.
yeah, you
That
can't
might
even
be
go
a
to
tough
Nova
thing.
Scotia. They have provincial borders. I didn't even know we had such strong provincial borders. But if you cross over to Nova Scotia, and I think New Brunswick now, you have to isolate for 14 days. There's people there waiting, and they want to know what address you're going to isolate at. So you can't just even go interprovincially. So, when you
Yeah,
talk about regional openings, it makes sense that earlier when they said you should keep it for people who live here. But I think many
yeah.
businesses would want others to come in to help support what we do.
Absolutely. Let's see here. Setting up in the park is a ton of work for the restaurant, but yes, call in your order and deliver it to the park at a table. Yeah, I think that's you might have it says skip the dishes.
Sure.
Um, coming. You might have skip the dishes, bringing it to a table somewhere. Do you know
Yeah.
it? Like it's a hard thing, but it's possible.
The other day I was in Erie and I was dying for perch. And I couldn't.
You're always talking about eating perch.
Well, it's just what you go down to Erie once a week. It would be great to have perch, but there's no place to have it. So I
Mhm.
think once this happens, the other question, you talk about your app. Maybe you can talk some more about that, but other apps to help us connect locally with what's available. And I
Yeah.
think that I don't know if that exists. Do you know if that exists in our community, Ben? Because I don't know where to go to get that.
I don't think there's really too much available right now. I think we have Facebook and social media, the way people connect and learn about things going on is probably the best. But it would be nice to have an app or something. But again, you've got to get people to download that app. You
Yeah.
really have to have a reason.
Well, if you want
But
to,
social media, Facebook and
if you
Instagram,
want to order a roast beef dinner from a local diner, there's no app where you can do that for
I don't
takeout.
believe so. No,
No, for local, small
and
local.
that's
That's
where the opportunities are.
I think so,
Let's see
especially
here.
for students.
Okay, Crystal has one. How will bingo or casinos reopen? That will be difficult. Um, Vegas just opened. Now, my mother loves the bingo, right? Every day she'll call my brothers and talk to me and ask if the bingo's open. She knows it's not open. It's like, what time? What are the numbers? So, my mom's a big bingo player, loves the bingo, and probably saved a ton of money by the bingos being closed.
Yeah.
Um, but I think the bingo would be easy. I believe casinos are tricky. But in Vegas, Vegas is opening, and I've been watching a lot of video from Vegas casinos. And believe it or not, people went back to normal real quick there. I mean,
They did.
there's some people with masks and that, but again, we're talking about gamblers who are high risk livers anyway, right? They live
Yeah,
high risk.
yeah. Talk about
And
the odds, right? What are
yeah,
the odds?
so but I believe everything. But when you look at the dealers all have masks and are trying to be safe, they're washing their hands. I mean, I think the biggest problem the casinos are going to have is the hands being dry from cleaning.
Well, Ben, I got to ask you though: are there? Did they? I saw on the replay there was some talk of standards for different industries. So if people can open on Friday, can they go online and find out what the rules are for their like? Do hairstylists get a list of, you know, regulation requirements? How is that going to work?
Yeah, I think there's some guidelines that, and I hope somebody would maybe talk about this because I don't know the guidelines because I just read blurbs as I
Okay.
understand it with vague And I think for the most part, people are going to self-govern themselves this way, and they're going to learn as they go what's safe, what's safer.
Mhm.
But they're going to take steps. But I imagine there are, and they're accessible somewhere. I just don't know what they are.
And also
Yeah,
for
I don't know
customers,
where to
like
get
if
them.
I go get my haircut, do I need to wear a mask, or does the person working on me need to wear a mask, or do we
Yeah.
both need to wear a
So
mask?
I did see a barber post before getting on here saying, "Hey, listen, I'll be opening on Friday. I would appreciate if you wore a mask. I do have kids, and I'd like to kind of keep as safe as possible." So I think maybe there's two ways to go about it. The barber and the hairstylist and the salons and the nail technicians, they make the rules really, and they can make them as safe as they want to be, right? And I don't think, especially the way the world is right now, the way we as society are, I don't think we're going to battle it. I don't. I think if somebody says, "Ben, you need a mask to come into my store," I'll put a mask on. I have
Sure.
no problem with that, respecting the rules of the places I want to go. And I think you're going to. I think everybody or a large portion of the population are going to be like that.
Hmm.
I think so. And maybe it might help that they have masks on hand, to give to the customer, right? I mean their costs go up. Everybody's costs go up if you have to do that. But that's one thing that I think they're going to do is they wear a mask, you wear a mask. At least you feel safer.
I just wonder if it's going to be like a health inspection where someone comes along and has a checklist from the municipality, says, "Oh, you've got to do number 7." Like, is it that formal, or is it strictly based on what the owner feels is safe and the customers? Like,
Yeah,
because Friday's coming pretty quick. Like, how do you know you're
yeah.
in
I
compliance?
think
I guess would be the
yeah,
question.
I think it's going to be a guidance. I think if anybody gets visited, what should happen, in my opinion, is an education. Right? Hey, listen, this is what we could do better.
Okay.
Right? This is what you could do better. These are the things that we're thinking, because also anybody that's enforcing anything can really do is say, this is what we believe works best,
Hmm.
because there's no proof anywhere, right?
Right.
We don't have a sample set. We have nothing to prove anything. So all they can do is say, hey, listen, we consulted with a bunch of professionals, smart people and scientists and doctors, and this is what we think is the best. So
So
this is what we're recommending to you.
bring a mask when you go anywhere, and if it's
Yeah.
required or not, you decide whether you wear it. Right.
Yeah. Yes, that is what I have heard. Chatham-Kent Medical Officer of Health has a final say for the municipality. Maybe. I don't know. They were planning on bringing back Festival Nations in Chatham, the way I remember it growing up as a kid on Murray Street in Chatham. I believe this was canceled too. I believe pretty much everything I've heard of was canceled, but I would like to see stuff reignite, get back to action. I think. Um, but Henry, were you around Chatham for Festival of Nations? You
I've been
remember
to a
that?
few, and in London when I was, they used to have something like that where it was basically you went to different pavilions and ate different foods all across the city of London. It was quite a cultural thing. I loved it. We did it for a number of years.
Yeah, I would love to see that. I know they did it last year. I wasn't able to attend, but I think that it was on short notice and short everything. But I think this year would have been great. I read that today. And I think he might be against it. I believe Colby would be against it too.
Why do you say
He's
that, Ben?
against a lot of stuff.
What are you thinking there?
When I read anything related to what Dr. Colby's saying, it is very, very strong on the don't do nothing side. Stay home, stay safe, save lives, don't do anything, don't open anything. That's what I get when I read stuff from Dr. Colby getting interviewed. It feels like a big stop sign. Like
Mm.
everywhere you go, speed bumps and stop signs. Um, so that's what I feel. That's my opinion. Might not be correct. He might be a very positive, wants to open up everything, but I haven't seen that. So when I see anything about Dr. Colby on the news, I don't know Dr. Colby, but I just read what the newspaper says, and it's always close and hold off and take time.
Well, as
Um,
was earlier said, certainly you and I are not experts on any of this stuff, but
right.
when you go to seek expert opinion, for example, a chief medical officer of health, and you're in a decision making, you take the opinion and then you decide in the end what you're going to do. Just like the premier today, when I saw on the replay, said, "Well, we have this. They call it a health table." I wonder if they eat at the health table. I was sitting around the table. But anyway, they're at the health table. We take advice, but he makes the final decision. So just because someone says yes or no doesn't mean you necessarily do it. But people are kind of saying that our local medical officer of health is the final, can call the police, ban stuff.
Yeah.
I imagine those laws were started for serious pandemics or serious, like when the water's bad, or there probably is some legislative ability of the position to stop things, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. Let's see here. No, I will be excited when gyms and martial arts can reopen. If we can make it 4 months and no help, sick of it.
Any word on
yeah,
gyms and stuff?
Nothing about gyms. Nothing about gyms and or martial arts facilities, jiu-jitsu, karate. I mean, there's a lot of small business, right? These are small business, personal training. There's actually a lot of jobs. You got personal training, you got instructors, you got everything, that's kind of, beat up here. But yeah, at one point, these things gotta, again, have that hope at least that we saw, when I read everybody's post today about Friday opening, even though it's a very limited open, people were excited, right? There was a confidence, and people are like, hey, did you hear?
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear? We can get haircuts.
Yeah.
And I've never, it's crazy to think, oh my God, we get to have haircuts. Did you hear about it? We get to have haircuts. So there was a definite excitement. And I think we have to have that direction, or at least a little bit of guidance on it could be, give me 3 weeks or something. Give me a date give me something to look forward to for a gym, or a gym owner to look forward to. So, I mean, because gyms are generally large, right? A large space that take up a lot of hydro, a lot of heat or a lot of air, and a lot of property taxes,
right?
And a lot of rent. So these are things that need to get open quick, right? Even opening hair salons, they're saying not allowed to come from another closed region for services. So yeah, so I don't know how they would. Again, we're getting back to that when Mark commented there about maybe IDing them at the door. It's going to be very hard for a salon to say, okay, where are you from? And to enforce that, because some, if you're, that's money coming in the door, right?
Yeah.
Just Click and Eat app.
There is one? Just Click and Eat?
Just Click and Eat, I guess. Just Click and Eat.
And eat.
You looking that right up right now?
No, I just called. So I'll look it up.
I just called Molly and OJ's and ordered fish and chips and picked up in 15 minutes.
Seriously? How long could
somebody just? Yes, regulations and guidelines will be posted, and most industries have groups they belong to, have been in constant contact with the province. So that's good.
Great.
Let's
so
see
as
here.
Customers, other than bringing a mask with us, we're not supposed to do anything differently.
Henry, shoot me a message sometime. I find it hilarious that you are both now talking about the travel agency business. You really don't know what the heck you both are talking about. What is the Ben Labadie Live supposed to be about? High risk livers. Yikes. Then you claimed that wasn't about COVID, but that's all you are speaking about. You are making yourselves sound like experts for the 12 people watching. And that includes you, Sean, and I think we're at 9. Henry, I don't think he likes us. I'm getting the idea.
I never wake up wanting to be liked. Do you, Ben? I don't.
Well, as long as they're watching, because that, we need more numbers.
Listen, you know what? I think it's important to have constructive criticism. And the first thing, I wondered about coming on tonight, 8:00. I'm thinking maybe when we're in stage 3, we don't need. No one cares about us being here to provide this kind of support, and that's great. I'd be happy, to not be doing this, but we're both doing it to try to help. And I appreciate Sean Scott. I always tell people, rather than criticize, come up with a solution. What would they like? Maybe they want a different guest. It's okay. It's okay.
Phase 47, gyms. Cheerleading is not considered a sport, but the Olympic Committee says it is. Our cheerleaders are very upset because we cannot train.
Well, Tammy,
Yeah,
I've watched a lot of football games up at Western, and the cheerleaders at Western win all kinds. I think they won the NCAA championship many times. And my wife was a gymnast too, and we sit there sometimes. We'd watch these games, and then you watch the gymnastics. The athletic prowess of these cheerleaders are incredible. Like the amount of the gymnastics work that they do is unbelievable. I agree, it's a total sport.
Mm-hmm. I will take the fines way before that. So somebody willing to open up, and you do see that, and I think people got to manage the risk. Like, is it worth it? Is it worth it opening? And that's a form of saying, hey, something I need to do. True. 19 viewers. Somebody fact checks. All right. It says over 20
I don't even
viewers
know
on
what
my
that
feed.
means, Ben.
There's more
It's
people
one
here than
person
at
and
the
we're
Last
helping. If we're
Supper.
not helping, they'll tell us.
Yeah. But it's always exciting, and you know what? We're at the hour. We got by the hour. But yeah, it's exciting. What do you think? I think the excitement on Friday is going to be pretty good. I've already been looking at where I'm going to go for a patio beer. You know, yeah, I seen
What are your choices, Ben? What are your choices?
well, I seen the Central put out a
Okay.
post. Hey, anybody have picnic tables?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, if I bring the picnic table, do I get to reserve it? Right? Because I think a lot of it is everybody's going to want to go do something, and everything's going to be packed. Right? So I want to go places, and they're going to be limited on space. So it's going to be get your reservation in.
From a business standpoint, when I watch what's happening on the East Coast, because they're a bit ahead of us on the opening stages, when they did this like Friday, everything went crazy. People just were so dying to get out and just do something that anything that was open was busy. Bars,
Yeah.
even real estate, the amount of deals that started happening, which is something we're involved with. More and more things are going on. As soon as you open that door, it's like it's just going to be incredible.
Yeah.
So that's why pulling it back, they keep talking about, well, if there is a uptick, we may have to pull back. I don't know how that would fly if you pull back on people once they get out there.
I don't think there's going to be a pullback. I really don't. I think it's going to be. I think we're going to be full speed. I'm optimistic. I think we're good to go, and I think we're going to see good results. I don't think we're going to be seeing anything negative. I don't think we're going to see a spike in numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's full speed ahead, and I'm excited about it.
I am too. I'm really excited, really optimistic.
But didn't they say you can group with 10 people? That fills a picnic table. Open the gyms. Sorry, was yelling. Open the gyms. I'm all about opening the gyms. I'm excited about the gyms being open. Excited to welcome hair customers, but have mixed feelings, if any, were at the crowded protest march. So, I did talk to a couple business owners that have a good amount of employees, and seeing people in crowds and stuff like that, and they weren't sure, is that equivalent to crossing the border, being in large crowds. So there's some concerns there, and there's going to be concerns of people just going out. Where were you?
Yeah.
Until everything's open, there's going to be that. Were you at this restaurant? Did anybody at that restaurant end up having COVID or anything like that? So I believe there's going to be some concerns as we move into the future here.
Well, I think we're all going to have our own
be
sense of confidence or risk taking as we talk about it, and people will. But I think Friday it's going to be incredible. I think people are going to be really enjoying the chances to get out and do things.
Yeah. So, Henry, can you talk a little bit about your shrink money advice book, free on Amazon.ca, that I got on the screen there?
Today's the last free day. So at Amazon.ca, if you go, it's free for Kindle. They do this once in a while. This is the last day, I guess. It's free. It's a story I wrote 10 years ago about a couple, a fictional couple, they're not happy with their life and their money advice, and they invest. And one thing I do for 40 years, I've invested in real estate and other things. So the story is about that couple and what they do. And the book, Shrink Money Advice, is 10 years later. If you had listened to that couple and done what they did, where would you be today financially, and what would you do with your money? It's one of the interests I have is investing, and that's why I wrote the book, for my kids primarily and myself.
Very exciting. And talk a little bit about PI Reporters here.
I started because of advocacy in the municipality. I wanted to kind of step back from that. So I started this online paper called pireporters.com, hired a journalist to write an article every week about something going on in our community. And that's what he does. Every week he writes. It's pireporters.com. If you just go 30 days, it's free, 30 days. And thanks, Steve. You just go 30 days, lowercase, and it's all free for 30 days. And after that, it's a huge $1.99 a month if you want to support our and you can also do the Business Entrepreneur Weekly, where we write 2 articles a week about local business to support local business. So it's the same thing. 30 days, it's free, and support this journalist. And we'd like to have them all over the place, because advocating in your community, writing those tough articles, I think is important. I just don't want to do them all with someone else.
That's awesome. And hey, guys, if you are on tomorrow, Henry will be with me again for our COVID conversations. And tomorrow's going to be an exciting day. Exciting day again. Great conversation.
Soon,
where
hopefully, people won't need us, Ben. Some tonight seem like they don't need us now. That's fine. But when people don't want us to be here talking, we'll be happy to go fishing and do all the things we do at 8 o'clock at night.
And tomorrow you won't be talking as much as a business owner. You'll be talking as a psychologist, Dr. Svec. So hey guys, we appreciate you guys tuning in and commenting and engaging in the conversation and driving this conversation. It's open. It's fun. I always have fun, and tomorrow's going to be more fun. So thank you for watching, and thank you, Henry, as always. And
thank you, Ben.
We will talk to you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow night. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.